JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. So, are you a business or business owner that is looking for stimulus? So, you can check out all of my videos. I'm sure there's a lot of other resources out there for all of the stimulus that is out there. But here we are in 2021. We're in going into the mid part of 2021. If you're still looking for stimulus, now it could be just, well, if there's free lollipops to be given out, I want to make sure I get my lollipops. That might be your motivation. But if you are looking for stimulus because you're concerned about the viability of your business, you're concerned about making ends meet, whether that's personally or for your business, if you're concerned about being able to make payroll, and therefore you're looking at stimulus, then I want you to really sit down by yourself or concentrate at the next stoplight as a business owner when you can take that 1 minute. And I want you to really think through, do you need to make some changes, though, to your business? Many of us here, now that we're into mid-2021, we're just assuming that things are going back or should be back to the way they were before the pandemic. There's been so many changes, I don't even need to go through them. I couldn't even fathom probably all the changes that you've experienced personally and professionally for your business, for your employees, for your vendors, for your customers related to the pandemic. So for small business owners, what we need to do is take a minute and reflect. Maybe be a little bit more honest with ourselves about what is it that our business is going to be able to do and handle going forward. We don't need to feel bad that it's not going to be able to sustain what it was doing before the pandemic. You may be doing things differently. You may be delivering your services or goods differently. So take a minute, reflect, and here's why. I'm glad that you made it to here. If you're concerned about the viability of your business, if you're concerned about making payroll and making ends meet, then while I'm not saying don't stop looking for stimulus, what I am saying, though, is that simultaneously now start figuring out what it is that you need to change. What you don't want to do, especially as a small business owner, is start dipping into your personal funds. Don't be dipping into your retirement, and really don't be going into any more debt just to keep the lights on. Now, hear me on this. You as a small business owner, the business is you. It's not the location. And as much as we value our employees, if we just get real for 1 second, yes, a business is made up of employees, but the business is not employees. The business is not customers. The business is not your vendors. And I think I already said it, but the business is not your location. It's not your building. It's not your address. The business is you. And that business exists so that you can survive. You can make a living. You can take care of your family. So what you need to do is tweak your thinking just a little bit and realize that what you do need to keep safe is the business, which means you need to keep yourself safe financially. Now, when we're talking about this, if you're looking ahead, if you're forecasting, take a minute, get the napkin out with a pen like you did when you started your business and you were convinced on, here's how I'm going to make a buck, and you had everything resolved right on that napkin, right? You knew what you were going to gross, you knew what your costs were, you knew what you were going to net. Well, we're in a little bit of that same circumstances. It's a little bit of a start over. Even if you've started back over or you have opened back up and you've been open for a while. Again, if you're looking for stimulus, you're concerned about the viability of your business, then do something about it now. Now, many of you may not golf, many of you may not bowl, but you might get this analogy for either one. But one of the things that I've always done when I'm lining up a putt, meaning my golf ball is on the green and I'm lining it up to putt it into the hole, or I've got the bowling ball and I'm wanting to send it down the lane to knock down as many pins as I possibly can. When you are still holding the ball, or when that golf ball is still at your feet before you have thrown the bowling ball or have putted the golf ball, you always think you know where it's going to go. But what might make sense is to pause for a minute. Is your feet in the right spot? Is your hand going in the right direction when you're getting ready to loft the bowling ball? Is your putter head going in the right direction? Do you have it held properly? Because here's the thing. When both of those balls start out, it looks like it's going towards the hole in golf. It certainly looks like it's going right down that lane to hit those pins, right? But as it starts to move away from you, you pretty quickly can tell, it started this direction, but it's not going to go in the hole. It's not going to hit as many pins as I hoped. But you as a business owner, you have the opportunity, based on your historical numbers, based on your knowledge of your business, to have a pretty good idea what direction that ball's going to go. And here's how. So glad you made it to here. Look at what you were doing in 18 and in 19 and in 20 in this upcoming month or 2 or 3 with your business. Yes, every business is going to be different. It could be a number of reasons that your business is going to be different, or different numbers, or the kind of business that you are. But you have historical numbers that you can look at to see, well, what do we really do in the next 3 months or 4 months or 5 months? It'll help you also solve to go, well, if we are normally down, then here's what we need to do instead or in addition to. But you have a great opportunity right now to reflect so that you don't get to a point where you realize there's no more stimulus. Don't get to a point where you realize there's no more money, so now you're dipping into other things to keep your business going. No business owner should be putting their employees before themselves. No business owner should put the customer before themselves. No business owner should put a vendor before themselves. Why? For the strength of the company. The company needs to survive. The business needs to survive. By knowing things ahead of time, by being realistic about things ahead of time, you're able to plan. I'm working with a number of clients right now, CPA in the trenches with clients, looking at numbers. And some of what we're looking at is, well, do we need to be making some decisions now so that if things don't hit the way we think in the fall, then what does need to get changed so that as we go into 2022, things are better? Is it a change in employees? Well, would it be better to tell an employee when you are completely out of money and they don't have a job when they come back on Monday, 48 hours from now? Or would it be better for you to be able to plan ahead? And if you're having to make a shift in the number of employees that you need, to plan with that employee, if you will, so that they have the time and that you would be able to afford potentially a severance package. So my point though here is, if you're looking for stimulus, I'm concerned about you, and I'm concerned about the viability of your business. But turn that concern into opportunity to avoid the problem. Meaning, when we're concerned, it doesn't typically mean that's then the problem we're dealing with, right? When you say, well, I'm concerned about you, it means that you're worried, you're thinking about them. If you're concerned, you're worried about your business, it's because you see a problem coming. If you're worried that that golf ball is not going in the hole, or that bowling ball is not going to hit all the pins, wouldn't it be better to try and do something about it now versus now just watching that ball go exactly the opposite of where it needs to achieve your goals? So think ahead, be realistic with yourself. I understand for small business owners, we don't have anybody in our boardroom with us typically. We may think we do, but as a small business owner, it's really only you and the actual other owners that are really the ones depending truly on this business. When you're a small business owner, who is it that you go to advice for? Well, for many, the people that you go to advice, they're going to have a different and a separate, I'll call it ulterior, it's late. It's literally 4 a.m. Ulterior motive. You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm talking about. If you made it to here, you're jiving with me here. You're following with me. You're training. You're tracking with me here. But when you go to somebody that's not a business owner, whether it's your spouse who has or your partner has every intention for the best for you, but they have a different method of what they're reviewing and thinking about and what their objectives are. It's different from you as the business owner, your banker, your investment advisor, your attorney, your CPA, your insurance professional. Everybody has a different take. Your employees are going to have a different take, your vendors, your customers. There's a lot of times that you can't go and talk to people really about any of this because you really, quite frankly, couldn't be as honest as you would like to be because they're either going to have doubt in you or doubt in your business. Bank doesn't want to hear that you have a doubt in your business, right? Other professionals don't necessarily want to hear you have doubt in your business. Why? Because they're relying on you to be their customer. Customers don't want to hear about doubt because they're buying things from you. They're giving you money. They want to make sure you can deliver. Same thing with your vendors. And even with your family, even with your spouse and your partner. They're looking out for you. They're not looking out for the business. Does that make sense? It's so loving for a partner and a spouse to look out for you. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it, but they're not looking out for the business the way that an owner looks out for the business. So why am I telling you all this? Because most small business owners then do this. They just put their head in the sand and hope for the best. They just keep working harder. They just dip into their savings. They borrow more money. They dip into retirement and they hope for the best. That's part of being a business owner, right? Optimist. Most business owners realize that they've got to work hard. They've got to produce to actually make a living, different from anybody else that's associated with that business. That means that typically a small business owner, they're an optimist, right? There's not many pessimists that start a business because a pessimist wouldn't believe the business would make it. A pessimist wouldn't think, oh, I'm going to be able to make enough profit to then support myself and my family. So small business owners that are optimists, which are most of you, you don't want to think of the worst. You don't want to think of the negative. We as small business owners also, everybody at least I think sees small business owners as wearing a cape, meaning, well, they have it better. They have plenty of money. They have the answers, right? And so then as small business owners, we sometimes take on that identity, if you will. So reflect. If you're looking for ways to get more stimulus, you're looking for ways to find money, really what you need to do is pause and at least parallel, but pause and maybe put the brakes on that and really determine what changes you need to make into your business. So it's late. I apologize. I think that was still pretty smooth delivery, if you will. But I've got a client that I'm wrestling with, and I'm actually having a struggle getting them to call me back. It has nothing to do with me. This has been a client for almost 20 years. It's a good friend. It certainly has nothing to do with me, but I can't get him to call me back, and here's why. I'm a pain to them. Pain as in I'm indicating to them, I'm trying to help them realize they've got to stop. They're burying themselves. They're in quicksand. They've got to pause and they need to make some changes to the business. Well, that business owner doesn't want to hear that right now. Why? Because they're an optimist. Why? Because they feel as though things are going to get better. It doesn't mean that you stop being an optimist. It doesn't mean that you stop working hard. You still do all those things. But in looking at these numbers with this client, and really once they realized what I was showing them, they've gone into a little bit of a tailspin. So being the CPA that I am, I'm staying after them and wanting to meet with them and texting and following up. Long story short, this has just been on my mind, and I thought, well, one way to help communicate this is this video. So for you that I just sent this video to, okay, this video was meant for you. So maybe some others will watch it, but this video was meant for you, okay? Take it to heart and then call me. Now I'm talking to my client here. All right, hey, listen, just know this, okay? We're going to get through it. 1 year from today, you're going to wake up and you're going to have your business, as long as you're just being smart, being real, being honest with yourself, planning ahead. Still be the optimist. Optimist is you're going to be here a year from now. Your business is going to be here a year from now. But don't be a year from now and you made it by relying on stimulus or borrowing more money or dipping into savings only. Okay, so let me be clear. Take advantage of the stimulus if you need it, right? You need it and you qualify for it. Absolutely, that's what it's there for. But if the stimulus is just keeping you afloat, what that means is when the stimulus runs out, well, then what? You're going to borrow more money? Well, is that really what you need to be doing? Because the stimulus is to help you rebound, get you back on your feet. Borrowing money typically is the same thing. Rebound, get you back on your feet so that you can make money to pay it back. But if all it's doing is keeping you afloat, meaning it's allowing you to not be honest with yourself, it's allowing you to, in essence, be comfortable with your head in the sand, okay? That's not really what this is all for. It's not really what this is all meant for. It's to rebound you. So let it rebound you. Again, I'm not talking about closing your business. I'm not talking about throwing it all away. I'm not talking about walking in and firing all your employees tomorrow. What I'm talking about is being realistic, looking at your historical numbers, so that when you putt that golf ball or you throw that bowling ball down the lane, it has a much, much better chance to achieve what it is that you're hoping will happen. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe, and then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.